Welcome to the most listened to golf in the world, the Fairways of Life show, on air, online, and around the world, with the most candid interviews, unforgettable stories, taking you beyond the ropes. Here's your host, New York Times best-selling author Matt Adams.
And it is a delight to have your company on this Wednesday as we broadcast to you live from the Travelers Championship. We've moved locations today because WFAN, for those of you that watch us or listen to us in the Northeast of the USA, are no doubt familiar with the Fan out of New York. Well, they're actually in our, and I think they're on CBS Sports HQ as well. They're actually in the radio booth that we had yesterday, so they're gonna have that background with the driving range, etc. And they said to us, "Hey, would you mind switching over to the pool area where we get this beautiful pool that we have set up behind us?" And it's a pretty cool area. It's very serene. Over on the left, about 20 feet away from me or so, Greg Ducharme and Michael Breed are broadcasting for PGA Tour Radio. Their producer Billy is keeping everything connected and working over there as well. Did you hear the sad news? Willie Mays, Say Hey Kid, has passed away, and I thought it was profound news for the world of sport. There's no doubt about that, but it was also news that impacts the world of golf because, and check this video out. Andrew found this on YouTube. That was called The Catch. That was from 1954. Over-the-shoulder catch by Willie Mays. Look at this. On any other ballpark, because of how deep center field was, that would have been a home run. But he makes that catch. He fires it. Watch it right after this. Watch him fire it to second base. Keeps the runners from advancing. That was in game one. They went on to win that World Series. As it were, it was the only World Series that he would win. I would assume a World Series championship. Is that equivalent to a major in golf? Or because there's 4 majors that you're vying for in a year, and there's only one World Series, is it more profound from a baseball judgment standpoint to win a World Series than it would be to win a major by comparison? Interesting thought, I suppose. I've never heard that before. And I'm curious what you guys would think about that. But the Say Hey Kid was this is the connection with golf. He was very supportive of Charlie Sifford when Charlie Sifford was actually breaking the color barrier in golf. I love that video that he's playing. That was the top of the 8th. It was 2-2 at the time. Runners were on first and second when he made that play, which is to this day still called The Catch. 93 years old for Willie Mays. But Charlie Sifford told us that Willie Mays was one of those. There were many, but he was one of those that was supportive to him as he was trying to break the color barrier in the game of golf. Because remember, in the early 1960s, when what is now the PGA Tour, it was a players division of the PGA of America, and they actually had a Caucasian onlys clause. I mean, I know as I'm saying that to you because I'm sure there are people that are listening to us or watching us right now that were alive at that time. And it's hard to believe that I could be broadcasting to anyone where we say, yeah, I was alive at the time that provision existed. It's mind-blowing. Somewhere, Dom, do we have a place where if somebody wanted to hear the interview that we did with Charlie Sifford, that they'd be able to pull it up? Is that available in our archive somehow so that people can actually hear it?
I think, I'm sorry, I was chewing. I'm eating breakfast.
You were chewing? Oh, hello.
Yeah, I'm still chewing a little bit. Shut up, Andrew. My director is giving me crap in my ear. You can't hear him. That interview, which we've talked about on this program many times, might be for you and me, Matt, probably top 3 interview that we've done.
It's top 2. It's top 2 for me. It's top 2.
Yeah,
it's that and Arnold Palmer are the 2.
We have re-aired it a handful of times. I believe the audio version of the show is available, like if you were to do a search online in some of our old, in terms of podcast style. That being said, it's in the works. It hasn't been completely completed yet, but we are efforting to build a television version of it because we only have the audio of it. So it needs to be sort of produced so that it can be used in a television setting.
Okay.
But we believe you and me, we will be airing that interview again in its entirety on this program in the very, very near future.
Very, very powerful interview. When we did it, ironically, Mr. Sifford was about the same age as that interview that you see that we feature every year with Arnold Palmer. And Mr. Sifford still had so much pain. There was I wouldn't call it anger. Maybe there was an element of that. It's not for me to define what his emotions were, but it was definitive that there was pain still there, because you remember he won multiple times on the PGA Tour, and he flat out told us he was barred from playing in the Masters, which anybody else in that period who won during that time, and the equivalent to what's now called the PGA Tour, was invited to compete in the Masters, and he wasn't. And he said it was because the color of his skin. And that pain was still there. It wasn't just that. I mean, his stories were unbelievable. Charlie Sifford told me the story that he was playing in. It was in the Carolinas. I can't remember if it was north or south. I'd have to listen to it for the specifics again. But he was leading the tournament. And the phone rang when he went back to his hotel room, and a man said, "Don't show up to the golf tournament." And he said, "Well, I'm leading the tournament." And the man said, "If you show up to the tournament, I am going to murder you. I'm going to kill you." And I said to Mr. Sifford, "I mean, how do you react to that? What did you do?" He said, "I showed up and I played." And it can imagine. It's just again hard to believe that within the lifetimes of many people that walk the earth to these days, these things were happening. And it's just mind-blowing to think that was the case not that long ago. And so Mr. Sifford broke the color barrier in golf, and Willie Mays was amongst those prominent African Americans that encouraged him, supported him, and sent him along his way. And the oh yeah, here we go. Dom just told me we have a clip from Charlie Sifford, and this, wait till you guys hear this, where he was talking about the racism at the time. Here's Mr. Sifford. Mr. Sifford, just getting on tour was not the end of your struggles, was it? You faced racism immediately, did you not?
Of course it was racism. Mm-hmm. Always have been. Because when the clause in the Constitution, they took it out, but it didn't mean much, because 1961 was the first tournament I played in Greensboro, North Carolina, and that's Sam Snead territory. Mm-hmm. I shoot 68 the first day and led the tournament. And I thought I was going to get hurt then, because they was calling.
Could you explain to us what happened in your hotel room that night, the phone calls that you received in Greensboro?
Well, the guy told me don't come back to the golf course the next day. So I told him I was leading the tournament. So he said, "I don't care whether you're leading the tournament or not, don't come back to the golf course."
What did he threaten?
So I told him, well, I said, whatever you're going to do, I'm going to tee off at 10:30 in the morning. I went out there and played, but I didn't. I wish I hadn't have played, because took them 18 holes to lock up. I said 25 or 30 guys,
25 or 30 people that you feel that they had to haul away because of what they were doing?
Yeah, they call them names, and let me see if you can get this and mm-hmm. And that's everything, but thank God, you understand, I was fortunate enough to come out of there alive, but it was pretty close there for one reason. I thought maybe they was going to get me right there.
Think about the last sentence he made. I was fortunate to come out of there alive. I mean, let that simmer for a second. I was fortunate to come out of there alive. He's not talking about a war. He's not talking about some other situation where your life would presumably and reasonably be assessed as being at risk. He's talking about competing in a golf tournament. And I was fortunate enough to come out of there alive. That's what I mean about how powerful this interview is with this man. And I truly hope that as Dom and Andrew are working on it, we get an opportunity for you to hear it in its entirety, because it is something that, just like the Mr. Palmer interview, I want it to live in our rotation forever. because it's a story that deserves to be told and needs to be told. Because frankly, there are very, very powerful forces in the game that would prefer that stories such as this just quietly went away. And this is a story and a message and a voice that should never go away. It's really amazing. A lot of news to go through with you today. Xander Schauffele is going to be coming up on the program. You're going to be hearing from him, as well as Nelly Korda. We have a major once again, another week, another major, the KPMG Women's PGA Championship, which we're excited to talk about. We're excited to talk about what's happening here at the Travelers Championship. I'm going to share with you some of the notable tee times in a little bit as well. You can tell that the weather is beautiful at this hour. There is a heat wave going on up here. I know that for many of you, I mean, I think yesterday Jim Gallagher Jr. was kind of laughing at us too when we were talking about the heat wave that's happening in Connecticut, happening in New England. It's beautiful right now. I can tell you the temperature is probably, I'm guessing 75. What's that, Dom?
No, I'm just saying. Jim was like, that's it's just Tuesday here.
Yeah.
You're in a
Today,
heat
that's what I'm saying.
wave, and here it's Tuesday.
Yeah. I'm watching the local news, and they're like, make sure you take a blanket off your bed and dunk it in ice water and wear it, like a cape all day, whatever. But I'm thinking, geez, down in Florida, I watched guys across the street, changing the roof tiles, and it was hotter than what they're going to be facing here. It's just but on the other side of things, when I'm down in Florida, the temperature goes into the 40s. They're saying, wrap your vegetation, your plants, and blankets and towels, right? Don't put your animals out. Let them relieve themselves in the family tub or whatever, because the temperatures they're scared the other way. So it's just funny. It's how it goes. It's people. It's the way that it all works out. So we do have a lot to go through with you today in those two particular areas. But there was some news with the negotiations, as we anticipated. We had heard that something was expected in the 24 to 48 hours after the conclusion of the U.S. Open. Strong speculation was that we would hear definitively about an agreement between PIF and the PGA Tour, and potentially even that they would have signed beyond just a framework agreement, perhaps even a letter of intent or terms between the two parties. This came out from Rex Hoggard, where he says, according to a memo sent to tour players, talks continue with Saudi Arabia's public investment funds towards a definitive agreement, but there is still work to do. And this is to the right. For those of you that are listening to us on the radio, the audio side, I will read it accordingly. Policy Board meeting summary, date June 2024. PGA Tour Policy Board and PGA Tour Enterprises Board held a joint meeting on Tuesday, June 18, in Hartford, Connecticut. To follow is a summary of the key discussion items and decisions. PIF update. Jay Monahan provided an update on the recent PIF meetings. As we've said in the past, we can't negotiate in public, but we're making progress. 2 weeks ago, members of our PGA Tour Enterprises Transaction Subcommittee met in New York with Yasser Al-Rumayyan, the governor of PIF, as well as members of his team. During that meeting, we reached consensus on several items, but both parties recognize that there is still work to do to reach a final agreement. Our talks are ongoing with the goal of developing a shared vision for the future of professional golf that is pro-competitive and provides players with the best global opportunities. Pause for a second there, folks. I'm going to reread that. Our talks are ongoing with the goal of developing a shared vision for the future of professional golf that is pro-competitive and provides players with the best global opportunities. Final paragraph reads, your player directors have been crucial in this process. Their insights and perspectives are steering us towards a positive outcome, and we will keep you updated as additional work is accomplished. My take on that is to say that as they're getting together, it seems as though the consensus at large is that we need to see more occasions when the best players in the world are actually competing against each other. In other words, not only in the major championships, and to ensure that those best players have an opportunity to compete in major championships and more, even though more major championships are hedging towards saying, no, you know what, we're going to come up with criteria to get into the majors that will allow everyone to come in, not just based upon, for example, world ranking, which the LIV players currently are not getting world ranking. And that's something that I've been saying for a long time should and needs to be worked out because you want the best players in the majors, full stop. There are other issues that come into that. On the European side, they seemingly have worked out a formula where they can ensure that they get those best players representing Europe in the Ryder Cup. That formula still doesn't exist for the American side of the Ryder Cup. There is some indications that maybe a pathway will be found, but as far as the President's Cup goes, right now it's still on a full stop. If you're not a member of the PGA Tour in good standing, then you're not going to be on the President's Cup team as far as that goes. So there are still issues to be worked out there, but that paragraph that I read to you twice says to me that in their discussions, they're talking about a more open environment for the players to compete. Does this mean that PGA Tour players will be able to compete in some way in the live format, perhaps team format? And does that mean that live players will in some way be competing against PGA Tour players in some way? Are these ways, will they be defined by the signature events, truly raising the status of these signature events so that they are global? Is that something more akin to the World Golf Championships back in the day, where we now know, based upon the meeting and what came out of it, where they said, no, the field in these signature events going to be 72. We've come to a consensus. I'm talking about from a tour perspective. This isn't with Liv weighing in on it, obviously, but from a tour perspective, say, no, this is where we're going to get our alternate list so that we know that our field is going to be 72 for these signature events and where we're going to get players to complete the field accordingly to that number if need be. Right from that standpoint, will that be where we'll see the live players? Will it be something broader than that? So it's very interesting. There's wild speculation always in the media. You just heard from the tour and the policy board and the respective committees who said it was joint, where they said, we can't negotiate in public. And I understand that, and I do respect that as well, that it's not a public negotiation. And no negotiation of intricacy should be conducted in the court of public opinion because it will flow and ebb. But there is wild speculation about a lot of stuff out there, including the status of the Ryder Cup, the aforementioned, because some are saying, no, that with the tour and with PIF and with those kind of resources, they're going to go to the PGA of America and make an offer to buy the Ryder Cup. Now, consider the fact that the discussion up to this date has always been that the DP World Tour would also be folded into this new union that would be the PGA Tour Live and DP World Tour, formerly called the European Tour. The European side of the Ryder Cup is under the umbrella of the DP World Tour. So if this happens, they've already got the European side of the Ryder Cup. Would they end up with the U.S. side of the Ryder Cup? Again, wild speculation, who knows? But it's out there in the discourse right now being discussed by people. So I'm curious how that will all work itself out. I think the encouraging thing is after there were a couple of board members that left the PGA Tour, the indication that we had was that the negotiations with PIF had at least stalled. There were other more hardened positions that were expressed where people are saying, well, this isn't likely to come through because now you've got 1.5 billion, maybe upwards to 3 billion coming into the coffers of the PGA Tour. They don't need Live. And then fast forward, and I'm not saying this had an impact on what was discussed on Tuesday, but I'm curious if it did, that Bryson DeChambeau wins the U.S. Open. And with that victory, could it not be argued that right now, Liv has the most popular player in the world amongst their ranks? Could that be the case, right? What would your opinion be relative to him? I'm not talking about whether you love him or hate him and you want to cast reality based upon that. I'm talking about at mass. See, that's to that point. That's the thing I'm always talking about, Dom, is that we kind of live in a world today that the reality is how you perceive it, and there's no other reality that can possibly exist. So whether you like Bryson or don't like Bryson is not where I'm going right now. What I'm talking about is, do the vast majority like Bryson better than any other player? And if I asked you that same question as little as 2 weeks ago, you would have made a very strong argument. No, it's definitively Rory McIlroy. It may well still be Rory McIlroy. I'm not saying that I have the answer. I'm just proposing it to you to say, what is it? What do you think it is? Which brings me to, as I'm hitting you with all these questions today. Dom, did you do a question of the day today? And where do we stand with that? What are you hearing from the people as we kick off the show on this Wednesday?
I sure did, as I always do. And we love all you folks watching. This is great. We got Danny in Essex. We've got Marty, Mississippi, Garrett, North Carolina, David, New York, another David in Spain. We've got Johan in
people coming
South
from all over the world.
Africa. We've got LC in Adelaide, Australia. This is great. Morocco, all over the place. This is amazing. I love it. The question of the day, for you folks, is directly tied into what you've been talking about, which I happen to post immediately. So I've got some numbers for you. Will a deal between PIF and the PGA Tour ever actually happen? Yes, definitely, or no, definitely not. Right now, 53-47. 53%, 54%, it's moving as we talk, 46%. 54% are saying definitely, but there is obviously a strong contingent that are thinking this is still not going to happen, which is interesting. I don't know how you read that stuff, but there's a lot of comments coming in as well. Like, the PGA Tour did a deal with SSG, implying they don't need a deal with PIF, or that doesn't matter. People writing, I want to see Live and the PGA Tour together. I prefer that. People, they made their choice. It's already over. The PGA Tour needs a deal, someone writes. They're not going to make a deal. It's never going to happen. So you can see the divide. It's just all over the map. Everybody's just not sure about what's going to happen. My question for you is, and I feel like because you're an optimist, you're just going to say, oh, no, it's okay. But I think it's a fair question. If they can't figure it out, is it detrimental to the future health of golf?
Say it again, Tom.
I said, is it detrimental to the future health of the sport of golf if a deal is not done?
Yes, in my opinion. I know many people will disagree with me on that. There are many people that are vehemently against.
I thought you were going to say no. So you think that the best interest of the sport of golf is a deal? It's got to get done.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I do.
And well, the people are saying that 56% think it's going to happen, but 44%, a lot of them don't think it's going to happen.
It's like we used to ask this question when we were just doing the radio side on PGA Tour Radio, Dom. And you and I would ask the question. I would say in a given week, right? Who do you think is going to win? And who do you want to win? Realizing that those are two completely separate questions. So in this case, the question of, do you think a deal is going to come together? How much of that 57-47, I believe you said, whatever the percentages are now, how much of that is influenced by people answering based upon what they want reality be than based upon what they actually think is going to happen? You've got these entities, these parties, they're actively involved in negotiations. You've got discussions that are going to impact at least billions of dollars moving forward, right? There's so many different things. You got to remember, the PGA Tour is not that far away from being back in a negotiation table for television discussions. A couple of years at most, right? And so if you're in that position, it's like I'm sure you heard of what also came out of those board meetings, that Tiger's been given basically kind of a forever exemption. It's like the Tiger exemption. It's for players that have won 80 or more times, or a player that's won 80 or more times, which is him. And the only one that's alive that has done that on the PGA Tour. So we can play in these events forever. That's great. I think it's interesting to me. I understand from a tour perspective why they're doing it, because he's Tiger. And if you looked at like ratings with where they were early in the week for the U.S. Open, their ratings when Tiger was playing in the afternoon were much better than when he wasn't. So people still are interested in Tiger and they want to see what Tiger's doing and et cetera, et cetera. So now they've got Tiger playing, but then contrast that against Tiger, who says, well, first of all, I can't play that much. So the fact that he's exempt into these 8 signature events, okay, does it matter if he doesn't play then? Or is this to try to force him to play, or clear the path for him to play? which he would have got those exemptions anyway if he wanted to. So I'm kind of like, and then you have Tiger that says, well, I don't want to be a ceremonial golfer. I still think that if everything goes my way, that I can win. Okay. So it's like, what's the connection with all this? So I don't know. I think all of it goes back to the TV negotiations, which is keep Tiger around as much as you possibly can, any way you can, for as long as you can, from that standpoint. And then from the standpoint of the good of the game, I was talking obviously from a business perspective here. If you have events where you can say, yeah, with what we've put together, assuming this deal goes through, with what we've put together, we've now found a pathway where we can have the best of the best of the best back together again. I don't expect it's going to be frequent, and maybe I'm wrong on that, but I expect it's going to be set up as something special, something heightened. I'm sure something that comes with big tickets all around, and I think it's great for the fans. I've said this many times since this whole kind of chaos erupted in the game of golf at its highest competitive tiers, is that it's actually helped the majors. Did it not make the U.S. Open more exciting? Where it came down to, I mean, it was like Hollywood scripted. It came down to a star that plays on Live and Bryson DeChambeau against Rory McIlroy, the star of the PGA Tour, save for Tiger Woods, but Tiger hasn't been competitive, so that's why I'm putting in the context of players that are competitive right now. You had Rory McIlroy representing the PGA Tour. You had Bryson DeChambeau representing Live, and it played out as an epic match. And Bryson ended up taking home the trophy for a whole variety of reasons, based on, no doubt, on what he did. So I want to give full credit to someone that won the tournament. He faced the obstacles, he faced the opportunities, and he won. And Rory McIlroy had the opportunities, but he was consumed by circumstance, and he lost. And so it was unbelievable. And then in the wake of all that, we see this Bryson who, I've been calling him the people's champion because of the way that he reacted, the way that he shared it with everybody. You probably saw this stuff about him being on with Jimmy Fallon and, meeting Kevin Costner before he went on the air in the green room, which, it's just, it's look at that. What I love about it is every picture you see of Bryson, he's holding on to the trophy. It's almost going to become a meme of I think of Bryson DeChambeau. Anywhere he is, he's going to have that trophy with him. It's like some people that have to travel with the oxygen tank. That's going to be Bryson with the U.S. Open trophy, and I don't blame him. Bring it with you wherever you can. Have it with you wherever you can. Live and breathe with that. At that. All right. So when we come back, we're going to continue our discussions here this morning, which includes hearing from Xander Schauffele. The Olympics on the men's side are now out. Who made it for Team USA? We'll be talking about that coming up. The women will get set after this week, after this major that lies before us, and we'll be talking about the major that lies before us, as well as it's that time of the week. I want to give you air times where you can find the golf, talk about some of the notable tee times that are here. This is a signature event at the Travelers Championship, so there's some really big names. We'll tell you how, when, and where you can see all of that, as well as the KPMG Women's PGA Championship and more, as the Fairways of Life show carries on this Wednesday. By the way, the Oilers won. They now trail by one game in the Stanley Cup Finals against the Panthers, 3-2. Did you see Jack Nicklaus banging the drum before the game for the Panthers? The Fairways of Life show is presented by the PGA Tour Superstore, the number one golf retailer from coast to coast. If you swing it, if you wear it, if you need to learn from it, you can do it with the pros at the PGA Tour Superstore. You want to shop with pros. It is your happy place.
PGA Tour Superstore pros aren't born. They're made. Every January, hundreds of associates talk to the top manufacturers, learn about the latest clubs, test the newest equipment, log thousands of hours of training, and together hit over 100,000 balls, all so they can get you the perfect fit.
In Ireland, golf is more than just a game. Come and experience our world-famous links courses. and our world-famous Parkland courses, all set alongside world-famous scenery. And visit our world-famous historic sites. And while you're here, enjoy our world-famous hospitality. Fill your heart with Ireland at ireland.com/golf.
Ben Hogan Golf Equipment is back. Established in 1953, we serve golfers who demand excellence of their equipment. Designed by the game's best engineers, forged in the world's best foundries, and built to order in the USA. Don't settle for off-the-rack disappointment. Elevate your game with custom clubs at direct-to-consumer pricing. Exclusively at benhogangolf.com. That's benhogangolf.com.
The Gen 6 iron is a culmination of everything that we have learned as a team, the absolute best golf club I've ever hit. It's something special. Say hello to the new PXG Gen 6 iron. The longest, most accurate irons we've ever made. They go higher and farther than any iron that I have hit to date, and they're so easy to hit. Super excited for the consumer to try this. They're gonna love them.
PXG, nobody makes golf clubs the way we do, period.
Baseball? Nah. Football? Done it. I think I'm gonna go after PGA Tour.
Playing on the PGA Tour is not easy. But you know what is easy? Hitting the 524 series from Tour Edge.
Hitting linebackers and home runs used to be easy.
Out here, you're gonna need all the easy you can get. Introducing the 524 series from Tour Edge. The easiest clubs you'll ever hit. Even the best players in the world can use a little easy.
I like the sound of that. Look out, PGA Tour.
Pound for pound, nothing comes close.
I was driving to visit my friends. Had my dog Max with me. Then, out of nowhere, Alex from Travelers called me about my claim, but all I could think about was finding Max. So he helped get the word out.
We've got a lost dog alert. A brown and white Australian Shepherd mix. He goes by Max.
Hey! I can't thank Alex enough.
I love being here at the Travelers Championship, the signature event in 2024. Like I was telling you guys before, when we went on the air, I'm in the pool area today because we cleared out of the what they call radio deck, which is above the practice grounds, the driving range, the putting green, etc. There's a chipping green off to the left from where we were sitting the last few days, and they brought us over here in the pool area because WFAN, I think it's Boomer and Geo is the show that's on right now. Boomer Esiason, and they're broadcasting live in the deck where we were because they've got this whole row of where they set up these radio shows. And so they said to us when we came out here for our pre-production meeting of where we were going to do the broadcast, and we wanted to be where we were yesterday because of the angle, because of the deck, because of our access to guests, etc., and because that was also our live national television broadcast at the time. As I told you, this time of year we're dodging and weaving around various programmings depending on which system of distribution that we're on. And yesterday we were on NBC Sports Golf Channel live, so we were over there. Today we moved over here because we're back to streaming the show and all the different footprints where it hits, and then we have the syndicated show that airs around the country and around the world, actually, that starts from Saturday morning. But the contents of that show are done. We already completed all that. So it put us in a position where, like, yeah, where do you want us to go? And they were like, well, can you go to the pool area? That's what's behind me. We're across the street from the clubhouse here at TPC River Highlands. The golf course surrounds us. Every now and then, Don was saying, yeah, the lighting is actually better here, too. There's actually an umbrella above me. You can see the pole, maybe, next to me. Yeah, you can. So it kind of evens everything out. But what I'm getting to with all that is I'm not the only one broadcasting from this position. PGA Tour Radio, Michael Breed show is right over there. It's maybe 15 feet away from me is where they're broadcasting. And when we were both groups getting ready to go on the air, we're talking away. It's always like a reunion, when you see everybody. We're like, will we be able to hear them talking? Will they be able to hear us talking? Will they be coming over our mic from it? It's fine. It always is fine. I was saying to Dom, I was like, we don't need to worry about. Remember when we're on site at a major and they put us in like the rows of the broadcast booths inside of the media center? You're that much of plexiglass away from whoever's sitting next to you. And if you had somebody, Dom, like Bob Bubka, sitting next to you who had this booming voice, Francesco Molinari. It's so loud in the microphones that they're just so directional that it didn't cause us any problem at all. So that's where we are, because we're broadcasting live here today. We're going to be broadcasting live here tomorrow. Tomorrow night, I fly out to Ireland. My flight leaves so early. We leave, Dom, at 6 p.m. out of Boston, out of Logan Airport in Boston, which is really tough because who can go to sleep? I don't care, you want to get a couple hours sleep, right? How do you go to sleep at 6 o'clock? Right. And then it's only from Boston. It's you could skip a stone across to Ireland. It takes like 4.5 hours and you're there. And then at that point, you just say, the hell with it. It's an all-nighter. I'm going to go, and we're going to wake up and play golf. What time, Dom, is your flight? When are you heading out to Ireland? You get in later, right?
I do. I love that caveat that you started that little story with. You're like, oh man, it's going to be brutal. Like, oh, this sucks. I have such an early flight to Ireland. Brutal life I have with this pool behind me at the Travelers Championship. I got to get up early and fly to Ireland.
Can I get up early?
I leave later, at a more reasonable hour for sleeping. I'm leaving out of North Carolina, I think like 8 or 9 p.m. And then I got to go to New York and over. So my flight is around 11 or 12 midnight, I think, Eastern time in the U.S.
You'll be sleeping like
and then I don't know what the hell time it's going to be when I land in Ireland. I have no idea. But I'm very much looking forward to it. I've been getting messages nonstop from people I know, like, oh my God, you're going to have so much fun. Oh my God, you got to go here, you got to go there. So I'm extremely excited about it. And we'll share as much as we can the journey that we're on together with all of you guys, but pictures and try and do some live broadcasting and things of that nature. But it'll be a lot of fun. I'm a little nervous about if my body can handle it. It's a lot of rounds and a lot of walking and not a lot of time. I don't know.
Yeah, I know you're delicate with all that. I got to call
you.
My
feet are going to hurt. I'm going to have blisters.
Yeah, I'm sure
it's a struggle, Matt. It's just one big struggle.
Talk about me saying I can't get any sleep, and Dom's like, "Oh, I've got to walk all these holes playing golf. Woe is me." You'd love this. Carney sends me a text. Mark Carnevale, 1992 PGA Tour Rookie of the Year. He's coming on the second week of this trip. Dom flies home. Carney and another group flies over, and we carry on. Carney's like, "Hey, are you available to talk for a minute?" I was like, "Well, I can't now, but I can at this time." So he says, "Okay." So Carney is Carney, and he sends me a notice about 1 minute before the time that I said I'd be available. He was like, "Are you free?" I'm like, "Yeah." So I take the call, and I'm talking to Carney. I'm like, "Carney, what's up?" He goes, "Liz and I, his girlfriend." He says, "We're coming in a day early," which for them would be a week from tomorrow. He says, "We're coming in a day early. Are you going to be around?" And I was like, yeah, I'm going to be around. And I'll be in Lahinch, and the pub I hang out at Lahinch is called the 19th. You can look it up in Google. And I said, "Well, if you don't see me, I'm going. You know where I'm going to be. I'm going to be at the 19th." He kind of chuckled a little bit, and then I was like, So what's going on? And I'm like, what was the big thing that you needed me to, call you and tell you, "Oh, what's happening? Everything okay?" And he goes, "No, that was it."
That's very much Carney, though.
That's our Carney.
That sounds very much like Carn.
As he flips away.
We have a meeting right now.
Yeah, I need to find out where you're going to be when I get in town on Thursday. I'm going to be in town. It's a tiny little village. I mean, you could ask anybody in the village, "Hey, where's Matty?" They're going to be like, "Oh, he's at the 19th. Where else would he be?"
Well, hold on. Now that I'm thinking, you make me think about this. We can canvass the people watching now. If there is a place or a thing that we need to do, I'm gonna list golf courses that I'm gonna get to play. I mean, Matt's playing them too, but really I'm playing them. Duke's Golf Links, Old Head, Kinsale, Waterville, Tralee, Ballybunion, Lahinch, Killarney. Oh, we're playing Lahinch twice. Oh. So we're going to be in those places, wherever those courses are. I have no idea. So if you've been, send us stuff. You got to go to this thing. Talk to this guy. I know a guy. His name is whatever. Talk to him. Tell him I sent you. And whatever. Also, I need to figure out what I'm going to purchase because you have to have something to remember the trip by. I've always been a guy who buys the little the coins, the markers, the little tiny markers with like the logo of the golf course. I'll kind of get one of each one. Is that a good idea? Or should I just buy shirts everywhere? I can't buy hats. Remember my head problem? I have a tiny head. None of the hats fit me.
Yes. The entire audience is aware of most of your ailments and how it impacts.
Yeah, I have many.
My suggestion to you is, whatever, if you play a course and you just were like, this is the most incredible thing that I've ever seen. It could be. There's a lot of them that could qualify for that. So I won't suggest which one should be it. You come up with it on your own. But I suggest you buy a pin flag, and then once you get the pin flag, have everybody on your trip sign it. And now you got a memento that, to me, you can frame and keep forever. That would be my suggestion.
Yeah, but then you're only doing it for one course. You're screwing all the other courses.
Well, I mean, you could take that perspective. I suppose you get one at each course, but
that
that's
sounds
up to
expensive, Matt.
Yeah, that's why I
can.
Yeah, I have a feeling from the pathway you're going down right now, expensive.
I don't know what the exchange rate is, but hopefully it's in my favor.
Yeah, slightly. I think the euro is 95 cents to the dollar or something, but you're going to be giving that back in the fees you're going to be paying to change. All right, so let's talk about this Travelers Championship and look at some notable tee times for that, which will be underway in less than 24 hours from now. Remember, this is a signature event. Bright and early at 8:45 a.m. While we're still on the air tomorrow, Davis Riley and Ricky Fowler. Matsuyama and Bradley Keegan is the defending champion, which is unbelievable because he's such a huge New England guy to win this event. 10:30 a.m., Scotty Scheffler and Max Homa. At 10:40, Wyndham Clark and Jordan Spieth. At 10:50, Shane Lowry, Justin Thomas. At 12:15, Matt Fitzpatrick, Adam Hadwin. Wait till Dom's over there and he starts to meet all these people, all my friends and other people in the different pubs, and they find out that he works in golf. He's always making fun out of me by talking about Shane Lowry. They're going to be like, Dominic, what do you think about Shane Lowry? 12:25, Tom Kim and Corey Connors. At 1:30, Colin Morikawa and Victor Hovland. At 1:40, Tony Finau and Patrick Cantlay. At 1:50, Xander Schauffele and Matthew Pavone. At 2 p.m., Ludwig Åberg and Michael Thorne Bjornsson. That's just a look at some of the notable round one tee times. As to where and how and when you can get your coverage of golf that's coming up in the tender hours that lie before us, Thursday and Friday from 3 to 6 p.m., we have it for you on Golf Channel. Saturday and Sunday from 1 to 3 p.m. on Golf Channel, and then 3 to 6, it kicks over to CBS Sports. ESPN Plus's coverage. Remember, they have 4 different feeds. It starts at 7:30 a.m. Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Sunday, it starts at 7:30 a.m. as well. That, again, on ESPN Plus. It just doesn't go as deep into the day. A Travelers Championship on PGA Tour Radio. You can hear it on Sirius XM if you subscribe to National Satellite Service, or you can hear it on the PGA Tour app. You can hear it on PGAtour.com. The latter two are free and available worldwide. Thursday and Friday from noon until 6, Saturday and Sunday from 1 p.m. until 6 p.m. So, Dom, that would mean that 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. The coverage is scheduled to wrap up at around 11 p.m. midnight our time when we're in Ireland this weekend. So that'll be fun, hanging out someplace watching that wrap up as well. We'll be giving you some air times for the KPMG Women's PGA Championship when we talk about that in just a second. But first, let's hear from Xander Schauffele. Won this event in 2022. Xander talked about a lot of different things, including his memories of winning here at the Travelers Championship, including what Rory went through and how he finished at the U.S. Open and more, including definitively the defending gold medalist for the Olympics is back on the U.S. Olympic team. Little tease there. We'll talk about that more after we hear from Xander. Here he is in front of the media.
I mean, just winning in general is always a nice memory to touch back upon in your own brain. So it's just a nice, coming to Travelers is awesome. They do such an amazing job, for ourselves, but caddies and our support team. If you look at the range, it's, we have little umbrellas. We have coffee stand, a lounging area. There's the green trucks there with the pizza. So it's such a relaxing week coming after the U.S. Open, and I think all of us really appreciate that. Really kind of a weird week. I hit the ball the best probably on Sunday, which was nice. Played well. 2 under is a good score on that property, and Thursday, Friday were pretty gritty rounds I had to play. I wasn't hitting it very good. I was missing a lot of fairways that were supposed to be sort of forgiving, and putted pretty well. And then Saturday I kind of turned it around and then ended up putting horrible. So overall I couldn't really get it going at any given point for more than 6 to 12 holes at a time. And nice to finish on a good note, playing well on Sunday, and really just didn't really feel like I had a chance to win the tournament at any point. Kind of just like everyone else, I got done and went back to the rental that I was staying at and turned it on. And I think my brother was there watching it already, so caught a few holes of the drama that was unfolding on there on the Sunday. So yeah, I mean it was pretty wild. It seemed like it was wild as a fan. I'm sure it was very exciting, and for me it was a crazy finish for sure. Yeah, it's super special. It's always an honor to represent your country in any given tournament or event. So it was a really cool thing I was able to share with my family after winning the gold medal. And qualifying was my first goal this year. It's a very hard team to qualify for, as you guys have seen on this U.S. side. And it was a really big goal of mine to get back, and really looking forward to competing again. Yeah, I mean, as a competitor, all of us have had our highs and lows to a certain degree, and it's a tough spot. It for sure is a tough spot, and I'm sure him and his team are discussing what happened, and sometimes you just need to step away from it all, and really try and be as objective as possible, because you're very much in the moment there, and it obviously didn't go his way, and he's just needs some time away to figure out what's going on. I think it just depends on how your week goes, to be honest. It's golf's a weird one. You play a lot of I was actually just talking to this about someone. I was in a little bit of denial, it seemed like, when at the end of the conversation. I don't feel super tired just playing Memorial and the US Open, but at the same time, they're two pretty hot weeks, and as you know, golf, there's chipping, putting, driving, so you're out in the sun pretty much all day for 2 whole weeks, and then you're competing, for the 8 of the 14 days that you're out on property, and it takes a lot more out of you than you think. So I think mentally, mental decisions are, and that's on your caddy as well, because your caddy is the guy carrying the bag right next to you, during all those hours of work, the 10 to 14 hour days you're putting in. So that starts to track, and so when you get to a property, hopefully you know it, and then hopefully you and your caddy are making the right decisions during crunch time. I think the most welcoming thing here is the hospitality, how nice everyone's treated, and how sort of comfy everything is here. Our caddies have courtesy cars this week, and that's the extent Travelers has gone to make everyone feel comfortable, and I think it's an awesome thing. So I think just because it's easy scoring, you still have to be precise, and you still have to hit really good shots and hit your number. So just because it's easy scoring doesn't mean it's an easy thing to do. You still have to be sort of on the button and focused to do those things. It's different for everyone. It's hard for me to compare my losses to his losses. I'd say he's under a bit more of a microscope, when things are going really well, people are all over him, and unfortunately when things don't go your way, people are all over him. So there's a microscope on him on why he didn't win and things of that nature, and he's gonna have to answer those questions at some point, and he will, because he always does. So for me, I wear him pretty hard, but sometimes it's nice to just get back on the horse and compete. But like I said, everyone handles those situations differently, and it's those times where I think you just lean on your team and everyone around you that supports you that whole time to give you that confidence to get back on the horse and keep chumming along. Yeah, I woke up happy. I mean, I feel like I always wake up pretty happy. At least I choose to be. And it was a few days. I had media Tuesday, Wednesday after I got back on Monday. So I was talking about it for a lot of the day. And I put the trophy in a really nice spot at the rental there. So when I'd wake up, I'd look at it. And then come Thursday, I was practicing and didn't really think much about it. A bad shot on the range was still a bad shot. I wasn't sitting there telling myself I was a major champ. I was telling myself that I need to get better because I just hit a really bad shot. So for me, I didn't really, bask in it too long. I know there's so much important golf, and I was trying to win a U.S. Open, and that was, I missed that opportunity. So I'm looking on to more tournaments here, and we have one more major this year. So really excited for that one.
Xander covered a lot of ground there, and the Olympics, as I've mentioned to you, that is now secure. So the defending gold medalist for golf in the Olympics will be back representing the United States, rightfully so, as a recent major champion as well. Look at that great shot that Golf USA, or USA Golf properly put, sent out to us. How would you like to have those four representing the USA at the Olympic Games? And you will. Congratulations. The ladies' side will be concluded, as I mentioned, at the conclusion of this week. It is a major championship week. There you can see the full Olympic field, and it's quite impressive indeed. I don't know about you guys, but I'm very, very excited about it because to me, it feels like we always have this debate about what's the fifth major, what's a fifth major. Well, in the years now when the Olympics roll around in those summers, we already know what it is. I mean, look at this field. I think it's very, very cool indeed and should be great fun. And yeah, my bias in terms of where you can find it, of course I am, because you're going to be able to find Olympic coverage not only for golf but across the board on the family of NBC Sports networks. So we'll keep you up to speed on everything that's going on because it will be early as it's taking place over in France this year. When we come back, we're going to talk about what's going on with yet another major championship this week. As I mentioned multiple times to you, the KPMG Women's PGA Championship, and we're super excited about everything that lies in store. And when we come back, we're going to be welcoming Nelly Korda onto the show so that you can hear what her mindset is heading into the competition, which gets underway at Sahali, a combination of the North and South courses, front nine, back nine, respectively, right after this. Stay with us.
I got ball fit in 2000, went on a little run. Then Bridgestone fit me again, and I went on another run. I just got fit again for the new Tour BX. The ball fitting's been helping me. Will it help you?
Boyne Golf provides the ultimate world-class golf destination with 10 championship-caliber courses spanning 3 resorts. Centered in Michigan's northern Lower Peninsula, the courses are the products of some of the game's masters, including Robert Trent Jones Sr., Arthur Hills, and Donald Ross. From the all-inclusive vacation packages, elite instruction with the Boyne Golf Academy, tournaments, and so much more, Boyne Golf truly offers an unrivaled Michigan golf vacation experience. Just log on to BoyneGolf.com.
I think when you're training for other sports, or why most people go to the gym is so that they can have muscles and be strong and be healthy. And a lot of the reason why they struggle to play golf is their body doesn't move properly for them to be able to hit a golf ball. And when you're training for golf, it's a little bit different because you're focused more on flexibility and mobility and being strong in motion. When you're able to kind of have a warm up and have a workout routine and kind of gradually build up to where you're training your body to move properly, yeah, you're going to get a lot of big dividends on the golf course.
PGA Tour Superstore pros aren't born. They're made. Every January, hundreds of associates talk to the top manufacturers, learn about the latest clubs, test the newest equipment, log thousands of hours of training, and together, hit over 100,000 balls, all so they can get you the perfect fit.
What if we started a company and the company was under no time constraints, no financial constraints? The one constraint is their clubs had to be exceptional performers and much better than any other alternative. I was told time and again it'll never work. It worked like a house of fire. And I'll tell you what, I think our customers love it. PXG, Nobody makes golf clubs the way we do, period.
Stride by Zero Friction, the first of its kind personal caddy. Walk in comfort and style with Stride's remote and follow me technology. The Stride handles almost any terrain, and its 54-hole range will last all day. The lightweight design and removable front wheels makes it simple to handle. Plus, it easily fits golf carts. Pick up your Stride today at a local PGA Tour Superstore near you or at zerofriction.com/Stride. Stride, your personal caddy.
Yeah, gosh, it's such a beautiful place. Definitely have to hit your shots out here. And yeah, I mean, I didn't get to play in 2016. My sister did, and she just told me you really have to hit your shots out here, especially your tee shots. And it's just a really beautiful golf course as well. So you kind of get lost in the nature out here. Yeah, I'm still going to be aggressive. There's a couple holes where I can't hit driver, but majority of the round I will be hitting driver just because you don't want a longer club into these greens. I mean, yes, the tee shots are pretty intimidating, but the greens, the second shot in is pretty tough as well. So overall, I mean, if you have the length, you may as well, you have to hit it. And this is a type of golf course where you just got to sack up and hit your driver. Yeah, I feel like there's so many majors coming up and so many big events. Yeah, I mean, they're two completely different golf courses, with obviously Lancaster being super undulated. I mean, that was such a hard test, and it was just an amazing golf course. But off the tee, it was narrow, but it wasn't as maybe intimidating with the tree line. I think the rough was a little thicker there than it is here, but I mean, if you hit it a little offline here off the tee, I mean, you have a bunch of trees in your way, so you're pitching out majority of the time. But yeah, I mean, I approach every tournament the same and differently. I'm just trying to make a game plan for this week, and every week is just a refresh. I have never been to Paris, and the one thing I'm really looking forward to is the croissants, probably on every corner. I love bakeries, and I love baked goods, so that's one thing I'm really looking forward to. And obviously, representing my country and getting to compete in the Olympics is such an incredible opportunity, and I'm just super excited to get there and even just play that golf course. I mean, I got to watch it in Ryder Cup, and to be able to play such amazing golf courses like we do nowadays will be such a treat. You can dwell on the negatives, but that'll never lead you anywhere. So you try to look at the positives. I did hit it really actually good on Thursday afternoon. My course management wasn't very good. I was flying my pins, and I was leaving myself in really tough spots and on kind of bumpy Poe greens in the afternoon. It's kind of hard to be aggressive with your putting and to kind of gain confidence from that. And then I did have a good round on Friday, and I drove it really well. So trying to take the positives from that. But that's golf. I mean, I'm going to go through these situations so many times where I feel like I'm playing really well, and then I'll go through a little lull where golf is the hardest thing in my life right now. So I feel like that's what grows myself as a person, and that's what makes me appreciate the sport so much, and that's what makes me appreciate the wins and the highs and the good shots and, the crowds out there as well. I feel like pressure is privilege, and, that's something that you're the only one that can kind of control that. You can listen to the outside voices, but at the end of the day, I mean, when you have pressure, then you can take it in a positive way that you are doing good and you are playing well. Yeah, I'm just going to stay in my bubble this week, and I'm going to go out and try to execute my shots, be confident in what I have. And this golf course is already hard enough, and if I'm going to put more pressure on myself, then I think it's just going to make it even harder this week. I mean, the dessert was pretty good. Ronnie picked the menu. We had tomato and burrata for our appetizer with some sushi, and then some really good scallops, steak, broccoli. I mean, can't go wrong with that. And at the end of the night, they asked us everyone had to speak, and everyone asked if what their favorite Broadway show and what their favorite movie was. And I think 3 of us were like, we've never been to a Broadway show, so I have not been to one. So maybe eventually I will be. I don't spend too much time in New York, but it was nice. It was very intimate. And it was actually my first time doing a Champions Dinner, just because, you know, in the years prior with COVID and everything since my win, it's been quite tough. But it was cool to get us all in a room with everyone.
Dom, it sounds like you should be hanging out with Nelly Korda. She's definitely a foodie. The baked goods, going through the menu. I love seeing Nelly being Nelly. I love the way that she was effervescent. She was easy. That she's going into a major championship. I like her personality. She has chosen what she calls kind of in her cocoon to stay insulated from all of the things that surround a star of her stature, and I respect that. I you know, Stacy Lewis, who you can see when you go on to our Fairways of Life YouTube page, and you're going to see all of Yuka's on there, Stacy's on there. You're going to see a lot of content that Andrew is loading on there, as well as more stuff from the PGA Tour and this Travelers event as well. You can always find content. We're loading new content on there every single day on the Fairways of Life YouTube channel for whatever suits you. Then, of course, you have this show 24/7. Do me a favor if you're watching us live, smash that like button for us. Dom tells me it helps with whatever algorithm or what have you. So please hit the like button if you're with us as well. But I really enjoy hearing from Nelly, and I think it's great having stars of the game and whatever, the LPGA, PGA Tour, DP World Tour, live, and that we feel like we can connect with them or understand them at least in some level as human beings and not just as star athletes. So I think that's really cool too. I do want to go through airtimes with you in just a second here for the KPMG Women's PGA Championship. But again, just pause a thought with Willie Mays passing away at 93 years old, a legend in the world of sport. It goes beyond baseball. It's a legend in the world of sport that we have lost. As to the airtime, let's take a look at when and how and where you can get your coverage of the KPMG. Thursday and Friday from 6 to 10 p.m. You can catch it on Golf Channel. It's split up over the weekend accordingly. 3 to 6 on Golf Channel on Saturday, 6 to 8 p.m. Take it into prime time on NBC and the Mothership. And then Sunday from 3 to 7 p.m. all the way through on NBC is the way that you can find the coverage of that. Before I say goodbye for today, Dom, we will be back here broadcasting again tomorrow. So you can find that for those of you that want to catch it on the streaming television side on the Fairways of Life YouTube channel. Dom, what is the final numbers from your question of the day today?
Will a deal between PIF and the PGA Tour ever actually happen? Definitely or definitely not. The final answer is definitely 66%. So
okay, 66%.
Take that as you may.
Take that as you will. Where we're going to take it right now is we are going to say goodbye. We're just a couple minutes past our broadcast window on this Wednesday, but thank you for spending your time with us. It is always a pleasure, always an honor to have you guys participate in the show and to get your input. We did give away the set of forged Wilson irons yesterday. The reason I'm not telling you who won it because I'm not 100% certain. Lindsay, who does our social media side, that she has actually been able to contact the individual yet, so I'm going to hold off on that. Maybe I'll have that information for you tomorrow. But QI10, I can tell you with enthusiasm, is going to be our next giveaway, the TaylorMade driver, which is going to be insane once we launch that. Maybe, Dom, we'll figure out a way that we can launch it while we're in Ireland. That'd be kind of cool. But we'll just have to wait and see how that plays out. I'll have to get Andrew down there in our Orlando studio to grab product and do some beauty shots of it, I think. But we'll figure it out. But that's just to give you guys a heads up. That's what's coming next. Make sure that you subscribe to our social channels. Make sure that you subscribe to the Fairways of Life YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe to my social channels at Matt Adams FOL, and you're in the running. That's all you have to do. We don't ask for anything more than we pick from somebody that has hit the same. All right, until we are together again, which will be tomorrow, I wish you to be very, very well, and goodbye for now.